been named as poster boy for your local currency exchange. Too proud. Tonight, please announce the world premiere, the new recording, Gary Mark Gilmore doing his brand new hit, Disco Death. Tonight on this station. I know you're waiting as I am waiting.
Don't be Rocky. You're a teenage guest jockey now. WLS.
Remember, freaked out teen, blown out parent, and person of all persuasion. Anytime you dial, you might find yourself on Booking Check tonight.
WLS.
Here comes the hit machine. Want to take out greatest albums ever. 20 original hits, original stars. Maxine Nightingale. The hit machine. The music never stops. Hit machine. 20 superstars.
Yes! WLS Music Radio. From Chicago, I am John Landecker, and Records truly is my middle name.
This is Manfred Mann's Earth Band. Another runner through the night, blinded by the light. I'm in this studio 6 nights a week. 4 hours each night from 6 to 10, doing this. WLS-ELO and Living Thing from New World Record with John Records Landecker. Chances to win tonight. Listen for the Music Radio Touchtone at WLS. I first got interested in going on the radio when I was in elementary school. And I went to the local public library in my hometown of Ann Arbor, Michigan, and took out a book called This Is Your Announcer. And it glamorized this profession indeed. And about this guy who went all over the world. And so I started my own radio station at my desk at home and put call letters all over my albums and put them on the record player and practiced, I guess. Didn't realize it at the time. It was just sort of a hobby. And when I was in high school, instead of writing term papers, I would make term tapes. And one of those term tapes, which was for a political science project, I took to all the local radio stations. And I got the usual thing about how, well, we can't give you a job because you don't have any experience, and of course you won't get an experience until you get a job, so it's like a vicious circle that you don't get to work. Until finally one guy, being benevolent beyond belief, said, here kid, read this news on the air when the on-the-air light goes on. And that was the first time I went on the air, and I started working there as a janitor at $1.15 an hour because they didn't have, they could not afford, you know, it was $65 a week for a full-time morning radio star. But I was only in high school, so it was a hobby. And I went to Michigan State University and majored in communication arts, and but I was already working commercially. I learned how to be a disc jockey by getting on the air experience, which is, you know, the one thing that you really need to have. When I was at Michigan State, I worked at a local station there, and while I was there as a senior, I got a job offer from a big radio station in Philadelphia, and went there for 3 years before coming to Chicago. That was the first full-time radio job I had, was working in Philadelphia. I stayed there for 3 years and did all sorts of different shifts. I came to Chicago after I worked 3 years in Philadelphia. In other news this evening, sources close to the White House say the replacement of Henry Kissinger really stems from Jimmy Carter's desire to have Southern, the only accent allowed in the White House. In other news of the presidential family, Jimmy's brother, Billy Carter, lost in his bid to be elected mayor of Plains, Georgia yesterday, making him somewhat of a Billy Goat. Billy Carter was plagued by a protruding stomach and political headquarters in a gas station. In meeting with the press earlier today, the president, Jimmy Carter, described his brother's campaign.
Complicated and confused and overlapping and wasteful.
Thank you, Mr. Carter. WLS, I am John Landecker, and hopefully there is Mitchell Kazel of Chicago on the telephone. Hello, Mitchell.
Hi there.
Oh, hi there. Are you ready to undo the combination to the WLS 7-Up safe?
Sure am.
Good. Correctly identify all 3 numbers in the combination, and you win the grand prize, over $3,000 worth of the season's best albums and a year's supply of 7-Up. Correctly guess the first number or the first 2 numbers, and you win 89 albums and a year's supply of 7-Up. But
You must guess the first number correctly before guessing the others. Mitchell.
Yes.
The numbers are between 1 and 100. What is your guess for the first number?
11?
What did you say?
11.
Let me attempt this on my combination of life. And see... Mitchell.
Yes.
Are you sitting down?
No, I'm standing.
Well,
I'm
sit down, Mitchell. Sit down.
I am.
Oh, good. You've won.
I did?
Yes, you
You're
have...
kidding.
John does not lie to his listeners.
Wow.
While indeed, you have won 89 albums and a year's supply of 7-Up.
I don't believe this.
But, let me get the right contest for him. What an amazing... 11 is...
Thank you.
Well, you're so welcome. 11 is the first number, Mitchell. I think every disc jockey who gets on the air, one of the reasons that they got on the air to begin with is because they have an ego. And probably to a certain extent, the ego satisfaction is a little bit of this job, maybe a lot.
Making it better than it was.
It's also a creative type job, if the radio station allows you to be creative, and this one does. So, if you like being creative and, you know, that's something that you enjoy, that makes this job fun. It's not a normal job. It is not a 9-to-5 job. I like that. I don't think I could work a 9-to-5 job. If it's not this, it's bagging groceries at Dominic's or something. You know, you like it, and well, yeah, there are some things that I dislike too. I dislike the repetition of the music somewhat. Songs that I have really loved before we started playing them have been sort of ruined by the time they were done because we have a tendency to repeat songs over and over again. Second. Charlotte. Available at Carson's, Webolt's, and Marshall Field. There have been some tunes that have come down through the transmitter that have been almost problems to me, and I hated them so much that it got to be a problem to even talk over them. The most recent example of that is Disco Duck, music for and by animals. Unbelievably dumb record. There was another one called Seasons in the Sun, which I understand the words were done by Rod McEwen, and it was all about how hard it was to die with the birdies in the sky, and that was out at the same time as one of the great classics, The Night Chicago Died, along with a remake of Last Kiss. And they were all about death, and we used to play them together and call them the Death Valley Countdown. I've worked at stations that didn't repeat music a lot, but then none of those stations did very well in the ratings. So you give and take. When you work at a radio station of this size, you do more than just stay on the air here doing your 4-hour show. You also get involved in what are known as PAs, or personal appearances. A lot of disc jockeys don't like that. I think it's somewhat of a necessity, and it gets back to the fact that I believe that the radio station that proves to the community that it is in, that it is a part of that community, then that radio station will be listened to. And making a personal appearance is one way of showing the community that you are involved in the community. Now, a personal appearance doesn't necessarily have to be a paid personal appearance. It can be for charities, it can be for Toys for Tots, it can be a telethon, it can be a wide variety of things. Probably, for a station of this size, personal appearances that are of a charity nature are probably a lot more worthwhile. The FCC, Federal Communications Commission, says that the airwaves are owned by the public, and you got to go meet the public. You know, they own you. WLS Music Radio and John Landecker with your chance to win tonight. Listen for the touch tone. A lot of people who listen to the radio have a misconception that disc jockeys are not human beings, or of the normal human persuasion, but they are, and I have 2 kids and a wife and family life, and working at night 6 nights a week with 3 or 4 weeks vacation a year can definitely cut into family life. Going out, whatever. Friday night on the air until 10. Used to work Saturday night until 10. You really have to get yourself organized a little bit. You have to pick and choose what you want to do, and people who you consider friends have to understand that you're not available at the drop of a hat to go away for a weekend in San Francisco, or, you know, hang out until 5 in the morning on Wednesday for no reason, you know.
John Landecker at WLS. Cloudy tonight, chance of snow flurries. Overnight low 13, tomorrow's high 32. WLS temperature 9, wind chill 15 below zero. You've got your demons, you've got your desires. Find out what turns you on tonight. Eagles at WLS.